I wanted to do a live. Excuse me. I already told you all that when I first wake up in the morning, because my ears are clogged, my nose and my throat, that this is how I sound as I take my medication throughout the day. And also, what's not here is my nebulizer is not here, and I have chronic asthma, not just asthma. It's in the season like this where we're under a purple warning in the city of Philadelphia due to I think the fires in Canada. The air is blowing this way. It's cold purple in the city of Philadelphia. We are under the type of code where they didn't pick up the trash yesterday. If there's going to be any outside activities today, they've probably been canceled. Um, they're saying if you have to go outside, wear the two different types of masks they would like you to wear are, if I'm not mistaken, they're medical masks. They're not the ones that just go across your face that you get. So that's how serious this is. The one time that I went out yesterday, excuse me for yawning, I did not have a mask on because I didn't know. Now I just found out last night, and I found out on my phone, not on the TV. Channel 10 did it, and it was posted, and that's how I was able to see it. So they're asking people not to be outside at all unless you have to. Now, to my understanding, from what I watched, this purple code had been in effect probably all of yesterday. I ain't too sure because I have a respiratory illness, which is asthma. I wouldn't have been sitting outside anyway. Even if we was, I don't do too much sitting outside. Even when I lived, didn't really matter where I lived. I never did too much sitting outside. If I sit outside, it would be in the back by myself, and nobody would actually know that I was there. I don't actually probably sit on the porch, and no, that's not me. Even at my house, my mom's house, when I would go outside, I would be in the back by myself because it's private. Nobody can see me. Yeah, I don't do the whole on the porch with everybody running up. See, because I don't really like that whole, I'm sitting on the porch, and see, because I like quiet time. So the way my mom's porch was built, is connected to somebody else's. So and when I'm in the backyard, it's private, just like this, but this backyard is bigger over here. And the house is smaller, but the backyard is bigger. So, it's one sacrifice, one for the other. This one has a nice big backyard. My mom's backyard was a nice size, but it wasn't as big as this. Her house was bigger. I ain't comparing apples to oranges either. I'm just merely stating facts because I have lived bigger places when I lived in Westmount area in that house that had I don't actually know. Oh, 10 rooms, 30 something yeah, about that. 10 or 11 rooms. So yeah, I've lived in bigger places. Of course I have. But so this is just story time. I'm not doing the lymphedema thing right now. Not right now with my voice sounding like this. Of course not. After I take my allergy stuff and get myself together, then I probably will do some lymphedema stuff. But I didn't really finish last night. I got interrupted. And a lot of times I get criticized for my geographical choices of the main line of Delaware County to different county, but I must be honest. Although I grew up in North Philly, I did. I never lied about the fact that my grandmother used to live on Lambert Street. Never lied about the fact that my other grandmother had a restaurant on Ridge Avenue. But just because my grandmother's one had a restaurant there and the other one lived there, that does not mean that for the rest of my life I have to live in North Philly. Yes, I've been back to North Philly. See, and what has changed over on Ridge Avenue, it is something called gentrification. And when the app, gentrification is that other races of people have now come over. And what it once was, I can guarantee you that it's not. The Ridge Avenue that I played on as a child, and I am about to turn 52, it is no more. See, I used to could walk to Girard College as a child. That Girard College is gone. And what is there now? When I ride past it, I'm happy for the people they want to live there now. But I can 100% guarantee you, I ain't thrilled about Girard College like they are. Because that's not the Girard College that I grew up with. The brewery town that's over there where my aunt lives ain't the brewery town that I used to walk from my grandmother's house to hers because she's always lived over there. I ain't psyched out about 29th Street. See, she's always been over there. She ain't either because on her block were two-story houses. And she has lived almost long enough to see them start putting 3 and 4 stories right around where she lives. My family has always lived in right where she is. So we ain't impressed. See, I've had a conversation with my aunt, my cousins. We're not. See, we're not because what we remember and what we loved is gone. And somebody might say, that's okay. Well, here's the whole thing about it being okay. It is okay because we could do what? Go somewhere else. What do I do? And leave them where they are? Go somewhere else. My somewhere else is not the Northeast. Sorry. I'm not playing right now. Because I used to work on the main line, because I have been to different township. My family knows that I am not being bougie at all. When I tell you that I played on Ridge Avenue as a child and no one had to worry about me getting lost or coming back to my grandmother's, that is true. So if at 51 I don't want to come back down to Ridge Avenue and the stores are not there. My mom had a Bible, and this Bible had a praying hand on it. There was a store on Ridge Avenue that used to sell it. It's gone now. So when I tell you that the Ridge Avenue that I remember is going, I ain't lying to you. There used to be a music shop called Webb's on Ridge Avenue. There used to be a peanut shop, a shop that sold fresh peanuts. So when I say that Ridge Avenue is gone, it is the Ridge Avenue that I knew because why? I am 51. I grew up and was born in the 70s. What these young folks see now, and I can call them young because they're 20-something year old, what they are seeing, they don't get to see Webb's music store with vinyl records. They don't get to meet Mr. Webb. They don't get to eat peanuts. They see all that stuff is gone. So when I talk about Ridge Avenue, I can say that I saw that. They can't say that. What they see now is a refurbished, it's new. It's not the same. So when I go down there and I see PHA there, I am not impressed. Sorry. My grandmother's restaurant Yeah, I ain't too impressed when I know exactly where my grandmother's restaurant was and something else is there now. I'm not tickled at all. My grandmother had a listen, I'm not impressed. I'm not mad about it, but I'm just saying that if my grandmother was still alive today, no, my grandmother's restaurant would not be open. Let me say that real quick. No, it wouldn't, because my grandmother would be older, probably almost 100 or older. So, no, my grandmother's restaurant wouldn't been there. And my grandmother's restaurant would have been long gone. That's true. Uh, I do have pictures, and I know exactly where it was. So, when I ride past the bus and I see what's there now, I'm not upset. I'm just telling you of the history I have with Ridge Avenue. I'm just telling you that on Ridge Avenue, there was a motorcycle club, two of them to be exact. So, see, when I come down Ridge Avenue, listen, going back up the other way, what people don't understand about going back up Ridge Avenue is Ridge Avenue wasn't a place where people were scared to be. That's not true. It might have became, no, that's not true. See, there was a motorcycle club on Ridge Avenue, two of them to be exact. I mean, they may be going now, but see, that's why I said that gentrification changed everything. See, because the people that are there now, if you were to ask them about the motorcycle clubs, they'll say, "What? When was the right?" Only somebody who grew up in the 70s could have told you that. I don't need pictures. I have aunts. I don't need pictures. I have family members. They used to hang out in the what? Motorcycle club. I go to church with somebody. I ain't gonna call that lady's name. Baby, she used to hang out in the motorcycle club. For real. Now listen, sometimes when I'm in church, I mistake and call her motorcycle. Listen, I ain't doing that on purpose. It's cause when I was a kid, I never knew her name. I didn't learn her name until I saw her in church. My aunt still call her motorcycle name. Ain't nobody being funny around here. She don't even get mad when I do it. The church folks don't know that. See, pay attention to how I said that. The church folks who know us don't know that. She will tell me, they'll just look at me. She knows I'm not being funny. Right. It's the reason why I brought her story up. It's the reason why I brought her story up. Because she hung out in that club. She did. Now she all saved and sanctified and filled with the precious gift of the Holy Ghost. Right. And her, right. But I grew up and I knew her. She hung out there. She watched me grow up as a child. So see, if you were to say, Kathy, you was, yeah, well, I got one of those people that was there. That's why when people be talking about you bougie, y'all know I ain't nothing bougie about me. You got the game chopped up. Just because I like to fight, ain't nothing bougie about me. I'm glad when she be seeing me in church and she can actually, ain't nothing bougie about me at all. I grew up in North Philly. I just like some other things. I ain't got a problem with going back to, I don't. My mama still live in North Philly. My cousins still live in North Philly. It's just that for me, if I had a couple dollars in my pocket, I'd have ran to Bryn Mawr. I would have ran to Exon. I would have ran to Thorndale. Yeah, that's me. It's not a, you don't like, not at all. I just told y'all that because of what has happened. That would make me not want to live down there. Nostalgia is always important to me, not something changed around. So because it is changed around, if I had a few dollars, I would never come back to Ridge Avenue and pay $3,000 to live on Ridge Avenue. Or absolutely not. I'm not impressed with the fact that they got an Aldi at Broad and Fairmount. Absolutely not. That doesn't impress me. That must impress the people that's down there now. I ain't being smart either. I'm just being real. My cousin said the same thing when I told them. First of all, they ain't even know that it was a Aldi at Roy and Fairmount. When I did tell them, they ain't even run to go over there. There is an Aldi at 31st and July, but I'm the one that told them it was one. Yeah, they wasn't impressed. Right. So it's the reason why I said that. Hello, Laurel. To the 19 people that's in the room, this is Story Time with Catherine. Although I'm mine for beef sector people, I don't do beef sector content over here. This was always an exercise and cooking channel. If you go back and you look at most of my videos, all up until maybe about a month or so ago, it became to be about my real life. Now, I follow people who put their real life on YouTube, the Henrys, the Cades, quite a few people. It's just that they're uh, what they're doing is positive. The Cades, I believe it is Mrs. Cade, has 10 children, I believe, and she shows you what it's like to be the mother of 10 children. Now, you got to be real gifted of God, I ain't gonna lie, to be no mother of no 10 children, because, baby, she got them together. Baby, she has a system. She got the 2-year-olds walking to the washing machine. Oh, Mother Kate don't play no games. See, anytime you got a 2-year-old child walk into a uh, washing machine and dryer, you got it together. Because I know some 4 and 5-year-olds that cannot do that. Maybe she don't play no game. See, those are the type of people who I watch. She got all her children on a little system. They know how to wash their clothes, dry their clothes. See things that you all take for granted. We can't take for granted teaching children how to wash, dry, and cook for themselves. Why? Because you have to teach them survival skills so that when you're not around, they're not sitting there talking about they don't know how to use a washing machine, a dryer. They don't know how to turn on a stove and cook. See, I know some people that have some children that are like that. Well, their mamas failed them. Yes, they mamas and daddies failed them because you may not always be around. I'm not talking about death right now. Maybe you want to go to the store. Your child supposed to wait till you come back. No, your child ain't supposed to wait till you come back. Your child supposed to know that if it's food in the refrigerator and they old enough how to turn on the stove, how to they supposed to know all of that. See, both my sons know how to cook, so I can speak to that. Yeah, but I watch other people do that on YouTube. I do. I was impressed when Mama Kate was doing that with all 10 of her children. 10. I only got 2. She was doing this, and she married. I'm not married. I was impressed. The reason why I was impressed with what she does, because they just went on vacation, and this lady even had their vacation together. She knew where they was going. See, pay attention. You have to have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, you'll fail. She had they washed all their clothes, dried all their clothes, packed all their clothes, put all their stuff in bags and things. They got a Sprinter van. She has 10 children. She only took 8 with her. I watches all this lady's videos. I do. See, when I'm not over here in the beef sector, I watches Mama Kay. I watches the Henrys. I watches Countess of Shop because she's losing weight. She already lost weight like I am, and she might still be on her journey. But I watch people who I aspire to be like. I ain't ashamed to say that. Now, I don't aspire to have no 10 kids. That's not what I'm talking about. At no 51 years old. Mama Kate is much younger than I am. And so is, I think, the Kates. They younger than I, but the point is not that they're younger. Is that they're sharing their real life on YouTube so that somebody who's not so together, that have just as many kids, mama is showing them this is how you show your kids how to be. You got to teach them survival skills. See, my stepfather was in the service. So, yeah, my survival skills came from my stepfather. Although my mom knew how to cook, my stepfather was in the service. So I already know that if the water turned off, go to the store and buy you some. See, I know that. Some, right. That's different. That's military training. Why? Because he was in the military. Totally different mindset. My stepfather served in the what? Korean War. Right. If he was almost 11, he'd be almost 90. Right. He was born in 1932. Right. So my survival skills of living in a house with somebody that was in the military was different. It was. But I like to watch other people do things like that. So the reason why I have pulled all the way back, I'm not clowning the beef sector. No, I'm not. I've watched Mama Cade come with just a story and do some other things. Some of the people who I watch came with a story and have now gotten brand deals. They're not depending on an ad. Listen to what I'm telling y'all. I have watched some of these people get some brand deals. So when I tried to share that with y'all and y'all didn't wrap your heads around what I was saying, I just didn't say it anymore. I just didn't come back because y'all didn't understand. They came with a story and left with a brand deal. For real, I'm not lying. Countess of Shopping is only one of the people that did that. For real, for real. Hers just so happens to be weight loss. But the coconut cup, he cooks. He will travel to you. He has his own set of knives. He does. He is a Jamaican man. He loves cooking. Listen, he probably can cook you better than I ever could in this lifetime, but he comes with knives in the brass cuisine. Listen, I watch people that take their own life and turn their own life into a deal with somebody. Smoking and Grilling with AB has plenty of things. Not only does he has a book, he has deals for real. Now, Gina, I don't see Gina too much. Yeah, Gina used to come on here a lot. I don't see Gina too much. I hope she feeling well and all that there. I pray Gina feeling well. So there's lots of people, if y'all don't see me around. My subscription's based so low that sometimes I don't even know if y'all heard some of that. Okay. I don't know if y'all heard some of that because I just saw that I wasn't over here. So I just seen it just now when I looked up. Wait a minute, y'all. Hold on. So the reason why I had pulled back from the beef sector, it wasn't for any other reason except that I watch a lot of people who do a lot of positive stuff. The Cades, the Henrys. It's so y'all have to give me a minute. My ears are clogged up, really bad. I have been taking my medication, but allergy season ain't no joke. Hold on. My ears are always clogged up when I wake up in the morning time, for real. Now, Philadelphia is under a purple clue, and they're asking everybody to stay in the house. Last night, I looked at the health commissioner, Dr. Polly. Dr. Polly talked about it last night or yesterday. I don't know when she talked about it. All I know is I saw it last night. I don't know when she talked about it because she would have had to give that purple code warning. Purple is very serious. Very serious. She would have had to given that hours earlier because the trash was canceled, which means she did that a while ago. So thank you to the 19 people that's here. I just woke up. Um, as yeah, I don't have my cameras on because I'm not properly dressed and I wouldn't turn my cameras on. But I just got finished taking 2 of my treatments. I told you all that I take them. I try to do them consecutively. That's true. So today, what I'm going to do is, I took the legs first. Um, I'm not going to break my treatments up today because I want to finish what I was writing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bathroom. Uh, I'm not going to take a shower and use the bathroom, come back and start my arms treatment because the treatments are pivotal to my swelling. The swelling that I have, it has to go down before I have another any more types of appointments because for the time that I was outside and I was homeless, my body accumulated a lot of water. So what has happened, and they even said this after I had surgery, that um, when you have lymphedema and you get surgery, it's not like when other people get surgery. The 5 days that I was in the hospital, my machine wasn't there with me, and I would have been able to use it, but I wouldn't have been able to wear my compression. I had to actually wait. I had my compression with me. I had to actually wait for the doctor to okay for me to put the compression on. The reason why is because I had stitches. Um, After being checked out the other day, they still told me the turnaround time for me to be um, recovery time. I did a lot of working out before I went into the gym. The hospital. And when I got operated on, the thing that was talked about, because my doctors knew that I was going to the gym because I pulled it up and I showed them. See, anybody can show you a Planet Fitness card. That's not hard to do. But the issue was they knew that I would not be able to work out for 2 months. And so it wasn't even an issue of doing any type of lifting, bending, no. When I first got surgery, they were adamant about me not bending over. They weren't concerned about me making up my bed because I could raise the bed up and I didn't have to bend over. That's why they weren't really pressed about it. They just told me when they came into my room not to bend over to pick up anything. Now that it's been 3 weeks, I can bend over and pick up stuff. I can't lift even a half a gallon of milk. That's why when that lady said that the other day about picking up her baby, she needed me to take care of the baby. That's what she said. I listened to her. I did. I listened to her. But I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do what she was asking me because the doctor just got finished telling me not to pick up nothing too heavy. And this lady was sitting there talking about me taking care of a 6-month-old baby. And he was a big 6-month-old baby, too. Um, uh, Although she had a bottle for that baby looked like he was ready to eat like I eat. I knew he had a couple teeth before she even. No, she had to open his mouth because I had one of my sons, and one of my sons had teeth at 4 months, and I just looked at that baby and said, "Do he have teeth?" Right, because he didn't look like he was ready for no bottle. He looked like he was ready for some of them good old chicken fingers and tenders. I asked him, "Did you bring the baby any snacks?" See, when he was laying there, unlike some babies who they take bottles at 6 months. I ain't saying that. My younger son took a bottle at 6 months, but when I looked at him, I knew he was. See, he looked like he could chew on some chicken fingers if they was real soft, and some fries too if you mashed them up, or some mashed potatoes, better yet. So when I asked her that, she said he ate all the snacks and then she pulled the bottle out. And I asked her when she was home. We had a conversation. See, I told you I used to work with children. So even though my children are grown, I ain't lose my discernment about no children just because my children grown. that I would look at a little baby sit in a carriage. Actually, when I went up to him and started playing, he started smiling and playing back with me and stuff, and laughing and kicking his little feet. And I asked, I said, you ain't bring no snacks you. I said, baby, when you come out for an appointment, you got to bring the baby some snack. Now, she done raised more kids than I did. So listen, sometimes I'm not clowning that lady. Listen, after you done raised children and they grown, you can't forget. Why did I say that? Because she got 4 grown children. She said, right, she's starting over. So being as though all her children are grown, that's why I said when you come out, you got to bring the baby some snacks. Because, see, if he eats chicken fingers and french fries, that's what that lady said, then a bottle ain't gonna do him too much justice. That bottle might have just, he drank it and it was like me drinking his water sitting on the floor. He's still hungry. She had bottles. She said she put the see, bring his little I said, I ain't too much give my children jar food. I'm not against anybody that does. That's not why I'm saying that. I would take the food and blend it up and put it in the cook the food and blend it. It's a reason for that. When I cook the food, they eating the same exact thing. See, I'm going to tell you why. When I tried to give them jar food and they saw that I was eating real food, pay attention. I was eating maybe some broccoli and some chicken. And if they had the jar food, they would start banging on the table. I'm not going to say which one of my sons did that. I'm not going to tell y'all. It don't matter. What I did was I let my son see me putting the food. See, I could have mashed it up. So I ain't want that baby food. They see me sitting there eating real food, put it in the blender and give it to them. It's easy to do that. Yeah, you could get the jar food on Wick. I know that. But sometimes they don't want that. So yeah, that's how that went. So sometimes people think that when you have children and they get grown, you forget some things. Now, staying up at night ain't one of the things I forgot. That's one of the things I enjoy about not having a baby. I ain't gonna lie about that. See, but I even know how to get around that. Because that's not even a thing that people be talking about, the baby stay up all night. Yeah, well, the baby might stay up all night. He wouldn't stay up all night with me because I would go right to the store and get some of that good old-fashioned oatmeal that they sell in a box. And I would put a tablespoon in his bottle or her bottle. And guess what? They would go to sleep. Well, how you know? Because I already did it. I had 2 of them. Now, I couldn't do it with one of them because one of them was sick. But the other one, I put some good old-fashioned oatmeal in his last bottle. He ain't cried all night. People be talking about the baby wake up all night. No, my sons ain't wake up all night because right before he went to sleep, I got me a little bit. Don't put in a whole lot now and mess it can't come. Just a little bit and shake it up. Baby did what? He slept all night. And that was my son that weighed 6 pounds when he was born. I'm talking about Jacob. See, I couldn't do that with Solomon because Solomon had drank too many milks and I couldn't be messing around with his stomach. His stomach was real messed up. I couldn't do that with Solomon. But Jacob, I could. See, Jacob he weighed like 6 pounds when he was born. Yeah. Jacob was, I ain't get a chance to get no epidural. See, that's how Jacob was. He was Solomon. I had been in the hospital all week. It was all prepared. The papers were all signed. Right. I had a lot of time with Solomon. I ain't have too much time with Jacob. When I called the doctor and said my water broke, I was home. By the time I got to the hospital, Jacob was almost born. It wasn't no epidural for Jacob. So see, that's why I be telling people, always ask me the difference between Solomon and Jacob birth. I always tell them, an epidural was very much appreciated. Being not feeling nothing. Oh, that was very much appreciated. Because the second time around, when it was time to have Jacob, I ain't feel too much pain. I did not. I ain't even know that he was halfway on the way here when I got here. I knew that I had some pains. I ain't had that much pain. But Jacob, I went in labor with him at 2 o'clock, and he was born at 4 o'clock. Seemed like Jacob just scooted down and came on out. Scooted down and came on out. When I got to the hospital, the doctors, I said, where is the doctor? They said, oh, he'll be here. I said, I don't know where this man will be. I called him. He's not going to be here. The lady said, "Why? Because I called him at 2 o'clock and he ain't here. It's now at the 5. Guess who wasn't there? Mm-hmm. The doctor who I called. I'll tell you his name. His name is Dr. Gregory Bolton. Yeah, him and his son was a gynecologist over there. I ain't lied to you. He was a male gynecologist. Somebody told me about him and his son. They're not there now. And he's probably retired now because my son is about to be 26. I don't know if his son is retired because he had moved his practice from Penn and became private. He did. So I don't know if he's still there now. But the point is, I called him and I said, I'm on my way to the hospital. Guess Dr. Bolton did. He said, I'm on my way. When I got to the hospital, I said, is Dr. Bolton here? They said, who? Dr. Bolton, it's not that they didn't know. No, that's not what it was. He had a habit of coming in later so he thought, listen, by the time the doctor got there, pay attention to what happened. He got there, got scrubbed up. I lied to you not. He came down, listen, when he came down to where I was, scrubbed up and all, Jacob was born, and he missed it. I'm not lying. I would not lie to y'all about that. He actually stood there and he didn't know what to do. One of his colleagues delivered the baby. They were steady trying to page him, call him. Even after, when I got to the hospital, Jacob's head was almost out. They were still trying to call this man. I don't know what happened. I don't know where he was. I don't know how far away. I don't need to know all that. All I know is they were still trying to get him to be on the part. He missed it. Maybe he was in the hospital scrubbing up. I don't know how long they scrub up. Because they delivered Jacob, and right after they delivered Jacob, he appeared. Everybody was looking at him like he had missed something. He was standing there. All the doctors, nurses was like, yeah, Dr. Bolton, you missed it. Like he scrubbed up for nothing. I'm not clowning Dr. Bolton. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just telling you what happened. Right. So that's the whole of my time of my pregnancy. He was the doctor that did my prenatal care. So it was expected for him to be there. But maybe he thought my contractions or whatever, I don't know what he thought, because not being able to monitor how far is probably what got him to think that it was going to be later. That was cool. We just all laughed about it after it happened. Because we certainly did laugh because, like I said, he was standing there all scrubbed up. And after my son was born, after birth came out, everybody cleaned up, whatever. He was the only one that just, turned and walked away, but it was all good. Jacob stayed in the hospital a couple days after he was born. I said his father kicked me while I was pregnant. He didn't get to come home right away. He did not. Now, when Jacob was born, Jacob was fairer skinned than he is now. He actually didn't believe me until I showed him the picture. Jacob was light-skinned as well, because his father is light-skinned. In the hospital, he began to turn dark. He probably was going to do it anyway, but he turned dark for real. When I brought him home, my family said, I thought you said. I did. I have a picture to prove that he was light-skinned when he was born. With Solomon, because Solomon was in the neonatal intensive care unit, and he had tubes and things hooked up to him. The reason why I didn't even elect to have a hospital picture taken of him is because he was ill when he first was born. However, when he came home, I did take him up to Sears photo studio in the Cheltenham Mall. It was a closed mall at that time. And Solomon has a baby picture. It's just that he was sick, so he couldn't get one in the hospital. But certainly has one with his little Mickey outfit on, looking all cute and stuff. So a little story time with the both of them is I am so proud of the young men that they have become. I must say that. I'm proud of all the work that I poured into Solomon and Jacob. I'm proud of Jacob from the fact that he went into the United States Air Force. And when he deemed it necessary, he came back home. I didn't deem anything. He did. He decided to come back home. I'm proud of the fact that Solomon is a licensed massage therapist. Although he does not do that every day. I would never tell y'all what my son does so y'all can find him. But he is a licensed massage therapist. He can come back in the state of Pennsylvania and work in hand and stone. He's multi-talented. He's like Granada. No, he's not. I used to always tell Granada that he was the jack of all trades, but the master of nothing. No, my son is not like that, for real. Solomon is not only book smart, he's street smart too, but in a different way. Like, Solomon is Granada amplified 10 times because Granada was book smart, street smart, but wouldn't use his smarts. He was book smart, street smart, but wouldn't use his smarts. My son is book smart, street smart, and will use his smarts, and is wise. See, smart and wise, let me use the correct word as it pertains to Solomon. Wisdom. Wisdom. He's not, he has the ability to assess a situation. I just watched him do it and pull back without being non-confrontational. See, my two sons, pay attention. When they assess a situation, the way that they retreat, only one of them has been in the service and knows how to retreat. That would be Jacob. Jacob knows how to retreat, but Solomon does too in a different way. The way that Solomon handles stuff and the way that Jacob handles stuff, sometimes I just look. I don't say too much. I am always impressed with the both of them. I'm always impressed at how mannerable they are. I'm always impressed that when they're talking to people, people always come back and tell me how well-mannered, how respected, how they call them Mr. and Mrs. For my son who was in the service, he might say sir or madam. Because when he was in the service, they taught him how to respect his superiors. See, in the service, you don't have mama and daddy over you. You have commanders. You have all the way up the chain in the service. So you don't ever stand in the service and call them by their first name, because that's what's called disrespectful. Right. See, you wouldn't call your superior Jack. Because if you did, you might get more than told. See, I like that. I like that. I like that. Why? Because young folks now, at me being 51, some folks might think it's real cute for a 6 or 7-year-old to call me Catherine, and I'm 51. That's not cute, and you ain't teaching your kids no respect. When me and my son, we had this conversation. Because somebody did it to me one day. See, I had to tell him why, when he went in service, he had to learn to address his superiors. See, he ain't disrespectful. He would have never called them that if they were outside anyway. But in the service, you certainly don't do that. See, young folks really think that's cute that their kids be running around here calling me who's 51 by my first name. No, it ain't cute. You just don't know better. No, it ain't cute. You just don't know better. Right. It's a difference. Right. See, my sons have been exposed to that and they know that. See, when I was a little girl, uh, you ain't call Miss Johnny Mae by her first name. See, you ain't call Miss Johnny Mae by her first name because Miss Johnny Mae might have whipped your butt and then told your mama. Right. And then your mama was going to whip your butt. But see, these young parents, these young parents, see, they think that's cute, and I do not. They think that's cute, and I know it's not. See, because when you call me by my first name and I'm 51, I gonna tell you real quick. Call me Miss, and tell your mama too. Don't call me by my first name no more. And if you proceed to do it, then I'm going to ignore you the next time you call me Catherine. Because that's disrespectful. You're not my age. First of all, people that are older than me, I call them Miss. People that are 90, 85, I, who am 51, call them Miss. So if I bow in submission to their being elder, why can't somebody do it to me? Because they're not being taught. Big Mama, my grandmama, if she was alive, would have been a Big Mama. Because my grandmother, if she were alive, she would have been like 94 or 5. Right. Yeah, she would have been somewhere up there. 90. So, right, Big Mama taught us respect. And it's just that I had two of them. And I do believe that my father's mother would have been older. Right. I even had my great-grandmother. My sons got to meet their great-grandmother, which was my grandmother. But I got to meet my great-grandmother, Martha. See how that works? Grandmother is important. Great-grandmother is too. So if my sons would have gotten to meet their great-great-grandmother, they would have met Martha. They got to meet Leola, who is my grandmother, but their great-grandmother, right? See, my great-grandmother, Martha. I'm going to write about Martha because I don't even think I put Martha in my book. But I'm going to. I don't think I said too much about Martha. Yeah, Martha, when I was a little girl, Martha came to, we used to visit Martha. See, the one thing that seems to get or has gotten is missing is great-grandmother, not grandmother. See, great-grandmother poured into grandmother, who poured into mother. Very important, that chain right there. Great-grandmother, grandmother, mother. See, I've had it, so I know it. Now, on my father's side, my great-grandmother might have passed away before I got to know her, as my memory serves me correctly, about my great-grandmother on my father's side. My father's people are from the South as well. So, it probably will be real easy for me to go there down south, because I swear my down south people tell me that down south is in me. I live up here. They tell me I'm here, but down south is in me. They was like, because you really believe those folks up there should be courteous and kind. You need to come back down here where it is that. They was like, you want what we have down here. And I don't think that. I just was raised that way. I ain't trying to get nobody to be nothing that they don't want to be. I am just being who I am because I've had Southern grandparents, great-grandparents, and parents. So I can't be up here something else. Although they lived up here or moved up here and raised me up here, I have been down south. I will go back down south. As a matter of fact, one of my family members, he has a successful catering business right now. In one of those places. He does. Catering business, cooking. Cooking. It's in my genes for real. People don't believe me. He does. Have a successful catering business. See, you won't find him just by me saying that though, cause he could be any old body. I have my father's side and I have my mother's side. I have people in Houston, Texas. Of course I do. San Antonio, Texas. Of course I do. My family members that have retired out from the military. You won't ever find them. The reason why you won't ever find them, because their names ain't mine. I could have told you that 1,000 times over. You ain't not going to find my family because their names ain't mine. See, it's called getting married and your name has changed to something else. Right. Just because my cousin could be they could be in the bushes right now listening. One of my cousins retired from the Navy. My other cousin retired from the United States Air Force after serving quite a long time there. You won't ever find them. And if they actually came right here and sat beside me and I turned on the camera, it wouldn't mean nothing to them at all because some of them ain't even don't even have nothing to do with social media for real, for real. They might have a page and all that there, but yeah, they're not like that. Like, I have a, a, a cousin here. He pastors a church out in Delaware County. You ain't gonna find them. Why? My family ain't ghosts. You won't find them because our names are not the same. And that's what, see, pay attention. People don't understand how that works. If my last name is Powell, but my daddy's family is not, and they've all gotten married, yeah, you won't find them folks. I ain't being smart, I'm just being real. They ain't ghosts. They ain't like Casper. Anybody disappear. My cousin got a church. They be there every Sunday because he invited me. And I told him if I could find it. He the pastor, for real, he is. He pastor. He was married and he had some children and he invited me to come to his church. Probably to preach, because he know. My Aunt Adeline, that was her name. Auntie Adeline was an evangelist. She was. So see, yeah, my Aunt Kathleen, my grandmother couldn't say Catherine. I don't know. She said that she wanted to name her daughter after her sister, but Catherine came out of Kathleen. We was trying to figure it out. I think it was the way that she was saying it. But I'm starting to think that it was on purpose because it ain't spelt the same. Right. Yes, I had a lean that probably should have been a Ren because that was my grandmother's sister. Yeah, that's how that went. So not too long ago, one of my family members, they passed away. My aunt, Catherine, passed away. Hold on. Happy Saturday to all the people in the chat. I'm just doing story time. You all know that I don't do beef sector stuff over here. So my Aunt Catherine passed away. She did. And my brother was there. I have a brother. He is older than I am. Me and my brother just look just like twins. If people think that my son looks like me, well, that could be true. But if my brother was sitting next to me right now, you would swear that that was my twin. We had the same father, but not the same mother. So my brother, we saw each other, and I hadn't seen my brother for years. He came to my aunt's funeral. He did. I have not seen I have a sister. And I have a stepsister. Even though she's my stepmother's daughter, I still tell people that I have three sisters and a brother. Now, they are quite interesting. My sister and my two sisters and my brother. They didn't come to my aunt's funeral. That was very it was something. It was something. It just I don't know how to explain it. Me and my brother were hoping that they would come and they didn't show up. We were we were disappointed. I always could understand that people are busy. I ain't never too busy to go to somebody's who is a relative of mine, not just any old body, a relative. So at my aunt's what you call it, we didn't show up. So they kind of got me labeled in my family. My my family calls me by my name. They don't nickname me because my aunt, when I was growing up, she never. Everybody else called me Kathy. She always called me Catherine. So when we were in the house together, if we were ever at something, when somebody would say Catherine, we both would turn around. And if Aunt Kathleen was in there, well, ain't nobody, see, because her name is Lean and not Ren, I think my grandmother did that on purpose. We actually talked about that. But whenever me and Aunt Catherine would be in the house, somebody would say Catherine, both of our heads would turn. And then we would both say, well, which one you talking to? Big or little? And they would say, big or little. They would differentiate. Now, you know, I didn't like how my Aunt Catherine, I didn't, listen, Aunt Catherine was special to me, and I don't even think that she knew that she was. I mean, she was rough on me, but I don't think that she knew that she was because our relationship was always, it wasn't complex. Of course not. That's my aunt. Ain't no complexity in that. Is that my Aunt Catherine always talked, she talked like she talked. I mean, people say that I talk rough. No, you ain't hear rough till you heard her talk. And I ain't talking about cussing you out either. Y'all think them ladies in the beef sector talk. I wish I could have recorded some of the stuff my aunt would say to people. Because y'all ain't got nothing on my aunt. For real, I ain't being smart right now. That was her mouth for real. Like, y'all do that for real. But my aunt talk rough for real. And she ain't play no games. She did not. If you did something wrong, my aunt would pop you and tell your mama. And then tell your mama why she popped you. At her house. See, that's the type of aunt I had. Let me be real clear about that. Once you walk through my aunt's doors, my aunt would specifically tell you, if you don't want your child to be popped, that's what I would say, then take your child out her house. Because if you did something wrong in her house, and her husband was there, she would pop you, not her husband. Now, if you got too saucy with your mouth with his wife, then my uncle would step in. But no, my uncle ain't say too much. Because Catherine knew how to run her house. Queen knew how to run her house. See, she told you, if your child didn't act right in her house, they going to get what? They going to get popped. I ain't say beats, popped. You ain't did it too many times. See, I had old-fashioned folks. So when folks say I'm old-fashioned, go back and look at who raised me. Catherine will pop you. Tell your mama, and if your mama got too saucy, see, they ain't get too saucy though with my aunt or my grandmama Irma. They ain't do that. They did not know that. Strangers on the block, strangers on my grandmama block down there on Clearfield Street. They ain't get too saucy with my grandmama. No, they didn't, because grandmama already told you if you ain't act right, you're gonna get popped in here, and if you don't like it, don't bring your tail through my grandmama door. That's sorry. See, we need some of that today. Why? Because those were children that were respectful. See, you ain't come in my grandmama's house and rip and run like you ain't got no home training because my grandmama would have taught you something. When you come through the door, sit down. Don't be ripping and running like you at the playground. My grandmama didn't play, and I told you her daughter didn't play either. But my dad didn't play. Well, I ain't spent so much time around my dad, but my grandmom and aunt ain't play no games. My aunt had a daycare. At one point, she did. She did. That's why I'm people like, you rough. No, I'm not rough. You don't know my background. That's why you think that. I'm not rough at all. They might have would have been considered rough. And children need discipline and structure. Because without discipline and structure, they grow up to be individuals that don't have that. They go to school and they disrespect their teachers. They go to school and they fight their teachers because they had no discipline and structure at home. That was not my home. And see, even when I left my home, my parents took me to places where I could get smacked if I was at their house. My grandmother's house, my aunt's house, yeah. My father's side of the family, I'm not talking about Lorraine and them, because although Lorraine and them were the same way, you know, after Harold died, they kind of like disowned me. And my aunt was the one who said, "Forget them people." That's what Catherine said. She said, "Forget them folks." I ain't gonna repeat what she really said, but it doesn't matter. My aunt said, "Forget them folks and let's move on." It wasn't that she didn't care about them. My aunt went to school with Jerry, so she ain't had nothing against my aunt and Jerry went to school together. They knew each other. So it wasn't no discrepancy between my father's people and my stepfather's people. They knew each other well. The reason why my aunt said move on was because they acted funny. My aunt said let them have it. And when they try to make up, she said, listen, let them folks go on with their money. That's what she said. If they want to make up, fine, but don't invite them back into your arena again. That's what she said. She said, I always knew they was funny acting folks. That's what Catherine said. I went back and I told her, of course I did. She wasn't surprised. And I'm not clowning them if they're in the clouds or listening. That's what y'all did. See, I ain't act funny for no money. That's how y'all act. And that's why my aunt, when I told her, she ain't like that. See, because she would have, if the tables were turned, when she got a chance to go live somewhere nice, she ain't act funny. Actually, she did. Went somewhere nice. Ain't really affect my aunt like that, though. See, driving all up there in Montgomery County and things and doing that never really got a hold of my aunt because she was from down south where people could build their own houses on lands that, see, pay attention to what I said. My aunt was from down south. People could buy land and build their own house. They ain't had to come up to Philadelphia and go out to different where somebody done built something else. She could have went back down south and bought some land and built what she wanted. So that's why she ain't never did it up here. That's why she would never go to none of them places when we talked about it. Because she said that's somebody else's house. And when she meant that, she mean the way they wanted it built, it was already how they wanted it. If she really wanted to do it, she'd have bought a piece of land and had the builders to build it the way she wanted it. So that's why in Philadelphia, my uncle, they ain't never bought no house. Of course they could have. Her daughter, however, live in San Antonio. I don't know if her home is custom built. I just know she lives there. I ain't never really asked her. Could be custom built. I ain't never really asked her. I don't really care. And I ain't saying I don't care about her. I'm saying the details of her life. I ain't playing them out like that. I've known she lived in San Antonio for 40 years, maybe 40 years, maybe. I know she spent a lot. She's what, almost 70. She's been there when they shipped her there service. She fell in love with it, said she was going to move there, and she did. So she's been in San Antonio for a very long time. So, yeah, I'm just doing y'all some story time. Yeah, no, baby, this ain't books, life stories. See, no, listen, let me tell y'all what this is. So y'all come in my chat saying stuff. I am writing my book, and telling stories, my stories. My stories. Like they say in church, this is my story, this is my song. Praising my Savior all the day long. Right. Well, right now, I'm not singing to y'all about no praises to God. If I want to do that, I'll turn this off. I'm just telling y'all my story. I ain't choosing to go on other people's platforms because I ain't going to say who said this. Somebody that I know, it wasn't one of my sons, said, you can use your channel to tell your story just like them Kays and Henry do. The Henrys do. They show them putting clothes in the laundry and taking the clothes out and cooking. You could do the exact same thing on your channel. Right. That's what somebody told. It wasn't my sons either. They was like, yeah, you can. You got a channel, just build your channel the way you want it to be. If you want it to be you showing laundry, you sweeping and you could do the exact same thing. It won't be the same because she's doing it for 10 people and you may only be doing it for yourself, but it's the same concept. So y'all won't never see no beef stuff over here. I'm not dragging my former pastor anymore. If I could go back and change that, I would have thought about that. I would have handled it different. I could have told the story without being bitter. Yeah, Pastor Waller did teach me that. See, he taught me how to be better and not bitter. I ain't just used those skills. I ain't gonna lie. For real, you can tell a story without being bitter. The facts of the story don't change, but we ain't got to be bitter about it. The reason why is because ain't no real reason to be bitter about something, about anything. It's not. Seriously, it's not. I'm going to have an attitude of gratitude about Pastor Waller. I could type that on my page. I will, but I'm going to say it before I type it. I'm going to have an attitude of gratitude about Pastor Waller. I'm going to have an attitude of gratitude about somebody that showed me something that I did not want to learn. Sometimes you have to cut some people off. Listen, the details of how he did it, how it happened, ain't really important. It's not. It's a reason why it's not important. It's not important because, if I take him all the way out of that equation and I ain't never met him, it would still be the same situation because I wrote about it in my book. I don't have to agree with the way he did it, but the Bible does say this. All things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. It doesn't, listen, whether PPD got involved, it's a small thing to a giant. The outcome would have been the same if he wasn't involved. Actually, no, that's not true. The outcome would have been different because what I just wrote about, no, the outcome was different when he wasn't involved. Because Granada and George were playing me like a fiddle. My former pastor did not know that. I ain't going to tell he didn't. He just found out all this time that we've been going back and forth. He just found out when I told him that I was sick. Sometimes the way you look at a situation, it can either, it's hard to explain this, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try because I'm a good writer. I don't tell my own stories well. I'm sitting there writing my story, but the reason why I had to have some help with my story, and I don't have to have help with my story because I'm trying to lie about it. I had to have help with my story because writing chronologically is not easy. To sit down and write from 1 to 51, about to be 52. It's not that I don't remember a lot of stuff that don't happen to me. Of course I do. The way I'm going to write it in my book is going to be the way that I remember it. Why? Because I just told you it might not be so easy to go from 1 to 51. I mean, I can remember having my son at 20, remember having my other son at 26. A lot of stuff happened in between there. Between 26 and 51, that's another 26 years. A lot of stuff happened in those years. So somebody told me, God allowed a lot of stuff to happen to you so you can have a lot of stuff to write about. I don't really know if that's true. I don't really know if I want to ask God that question. I mean, I don't really know if I want to ask God that question because I do have an extremely lot to write about. I mean, the thing with my mother, George and Granada, at one point in my life, I actually began to ask God, you let me go on a merry-go-round. God, you do know that people get off a merry-go-round, right? I'm just asking you, God. People get off of a merry-go-round. They don't stay on it for years. They get off of a roller coaster. I didn't even use a roller coaster as an example because at one point it seemed like they were merry-go-rounding me. Playing Ring Around the Rosie would have been a better term. But a merry-go-round just goes around in circles, and that's why I used it. It doesn't go anywhere. It stays on the ground and it goes around and around and around and around. That's why I used that. At one point, it seemed as if my son's father, my ex-boyfriend, and my mom were doing that to me. This trip right here, my mom, she always has to find somebody to try to take Catherine Sherelle Powell, Catherine Sherelle Powell, down. Always try to find somebody to try to hurt my feelings. Try to make me feel bad about. Listen, one of the reasons why I struggle with my weight for so long is because if I'm losing weight and you don't be in, listen, it took a long time. That's all I'm going to say. It took a long time. Scale started playing between 185 and whatever it is now. Listen, I didn't ever realize something about losing weight until I actually saw it on YouTube. Somebody actually said that they couldn't get over what they were going through because they still had the person in their life. I don't mean when I say that, I mean the same way me and my mom have just been back and forth is the reason. Yeah, I understood that. See, if I would have went to a therapist, if I would have took medication, it wouldn't have made a difference. And that's why the reason I didn't lose no weight. Why my weight kept going up and down and down and up and down. Right. You are keeping the person there that's causing you the most harm. It has to be true. Because as soon as I left my mom's house, all that weight just started dropping off of me. Right. Uh-huh. Okay. Right. So then there is nobody that can tell me that that relationship was not toxic. How do you go from that? I left her in May and actually got down to 184.4 pounds. Just like that. I did. Right. I ain't in the gym now doing those supersets on the treadmill, getting on a elliptical. I ain't supersetting right now. I ain't really, the times that I was going in the gym, I was lightly working out. I was on a light. But months before the light, I was doing heavy lifting in the gym. For real. Cardio and strength training on days. Soon as I left her house, it looked like all the stuff that I had been doing in the gym, it started kicking in. Like, what happened? Right, that's what happened. So, here we are. Hold on, y'all. Oh, the book that I'm writing about, Zorro, Hello to my moderator, Zero Lightness. Hello, She Cute 55. Hello, Kimberly. Hello, Thurman. And everybody else. I can only see some of y'all. The rest of y'all haven't dropped down yet. To the 31 of y'all in the chat, thank you. Please hit the like button. My likes are at 14. It's 33 of y'all. You all know most of the time you all come over here. I don't even ask y'all for a cash app because that's not what this is about. I want you all to know that. I'm not monetized yet. I need y'all help. See, pay attention to my bigger picture. Pay attention to my bigger picture. I ain't asking y'all for no cash app. I just want y'all to support me so I can get monetized. Cash app's a wonderful thing. It is. But a monetization is even better. If I get my 4,000, if I get my watch hours, then I ain't got to never come on here and drop my cash app. That's wonderful that people do. I'm not knocking what they're doing. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. If y'all come over here and support me like I need y'all to, I'll get monetized from, I'll give me one of them AdSense checks. Right now, I saw my watch hours is not there. I need yeah, I have to get 3,000 watch hours, and I looked yesterday, and I was 700 and something of the 3,000. So I got a long way to go. So that's why I got to come over here and do my story time. I can't do no uploads because from my understanding, uploads do not count in the watch hours. So that's why I'm here. The other day I gave you all Sex Hour Live where I talked about my life. That was a little rant, but it helped my watch hours though, because they was low. My watch hours was at 82 before I did that. But it got up there a little bit. So, Zoe, you asked me a question. The book I'm writing about is my autobiography. It's quite interesting. It is. I've had a colorful life. I mean, colorful. I said that the way that I meant it, colorful. My life has been rich with experience, but not rich with money. I ain't never lied to y'all. My life has been rich with experiences, but not rich with money. I mean, I'm not even mad about that. It's the reason why I said that. I've been to some places where, put it to you this way, I've met some people because of my godparents and some solid people. In the church, out the church, solid people. Listen, one thing I can say about my godmother was she was well rounded. See, everything is not about God all the time. So that godmother was well rounded. Now, my other godparents, they were in church, but they ain't really believe in all that well rounded stuff for real, for real. So, them with me and me with her was totally different. And me with them were totally different. So, I mean, I didn't really write a lot about what I did with my godparents as far as like in the church, out the church, parties and all that, because, I just didn't. I mean, one time me and my godparents, they had a party at the Y. So when I say that we did stuff out of church, we did. I just probably didn't put it in my book, but we definitely did. Those set of godparents, they did stuff out the church, skating parties and all that. Did all that stuff. We ain't always go to church and just go there every Sunday for no, we did. Elmwood skating ring up there on 71st and Elmwood Avenue. The Palace. Not too many people knows about the Palace. Yes, the Palace might be closed now. But the Palace was, if I'm not mistaken, let me just put it this way, because somebody going to listen to that and they going to get the wrong idea. I'm going to just say the Palace ain't for everybody, because everything ain't for everybody. Because sometimes when you tell people that you know stuff, then they look at your godparents funny. No, no. They knew how to do things that you have to be balanced. And the reason why I know that you have to be balanced is because of what the Bible says. In Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, to everything there is a season, a time, and a purpose under the heaven. So that means there's a time for me to go to church. There's a time for me to go skating. There's a time for me to go bowling. There's time for me to get my nails done. It's time for everything. So that means throughout the course of the 24 hours, God wants me to be balance. And that's what my godparents taught me. Now, my other godparents might not would agree with me going to the palace. However, I believe the palace was age restricted. So I don't believe that young children could go to the palace anyway. So it wouldn't really matter. Right. But it used to be like up on the boulevard, they had USA skating ring. Over 71st and Elmwood, they had Elmwood skating. Down Germantown Avenue, they had Carmen. Further up was the Palace. So skating was a big thing back then. It may not be now. Carmen, they done knocked it down. They about turned it to something else. USA skating ring ain't there no more. Um, Elmwood ain't there no more. The Palace ain't too sure. I gotta look. I don't think the Palace is there anymore. But I mean, skating was really. Wait a minute. Gemini, I'm gonna have to ask somebody because I got a lot of those. And yeah, I'm gonna have to ask somebody how to do that. Cause I actually seen how uh because I did some of them on StreamYard. Yeah, I'm gonna have to find that out. Cause I have a live that's 3 hours and 33 minutes, and the other day I did one for about 4 hours, and that might have went to private, and I wasn't trying to. Now they put private and unlisted. I don't know why I'm trying to get them over there so I can get monetized because I did a lot of videos for real, and I said that I wasn't going to address um Jay Wilson anymore or anybody else that's in the beef sector or doing beef sector content because they're not doing the same content that I am. See, I'm not looking for a salacious story. If I want a salacious story, I could really turn on the news and see a salacious story because there's plenty of them here in Philadelphia. And I ain't being smart right now. Somebody's always getting something with a pew pewed. Somebody's always getting pokey pokey with one of those camping equipments. You know what I'm talking about? So I ain't got to turn on YouTube to see no salacious stories. But, I mean, for the time that I was in the beef sector, I was there. But I think I'm moving away from the beef sector because of what I'm actually doing in my real life. And it has to pour over into what I'm doing on the beef, what I'm doing on YouTube. So that's what it really is. That's what it is. Now, today is Saturday, and on Saturdays, in case you all don't know, Ness and I do a show. Now, Ness is not going to be able to do the show today, but I am because I want to keep the momentum going. So what I'm going to do is it's 8:31 now. Now I'm not going to do the show as late as Ness would because her and I or Art don't live on the same coast. I live Eastern Standard Time. She's on a different standard time. So when it's 9:30 at night here, it's 6:30 where she is. Well, I'm going to do my show today. I have to pick a time. I don't know. I'm gonna try not to schedule it because StreamYard, every time I schedule it, they don't let me do it. I'll just tell y'all that it's going to be between 7 and 9. I don't know the exact time yet because I have some things to do. I'm gonna stay real disciplined and focused and try to do those things so I can be on time. And I also have to sit down and write. I do not do stuff off the top of my head. Listen, when I was younger, doing stuff off the top of my head and standing up in front of people, yeah, I was taught and trained like that because I was actually taught and trained to preach like that. So when I see people, so I can do that. I ain't going to talk, I can do that. But I ain't going to do that on my show in case I forget something. I still could, but I'm not. I'm going to actually do my research, write stuff down, and be before y'all tonight. So tonight I will do a show about church. And I am going to talk about what happens to church in the summertime. That's one. The other two, it's not going to be as long, but it is going to be something because I don't want the fact that Ness and I can't collaborate to stop our show, because then what will happen is next week if we do it again, people won't be around because we wasn't around. So I'm going to definitely do that. That's our Christian show that we do every Saturday. We started this a couple of weeks ago. If you all missed it, it was about 4 hours long. Ness may still have it up. It was on her live, if I'm not mistaken. So it is 8:33 now. Wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, see, the thing about the cooking and the cleaning, I've done a little bit, I've not done too much. I heard yeah, I've not done a lot. I'm not overexerting myself. I actually was told the other day not to do too much, and so I'm not. I'm not over. Not overexerting myself. It's just that last night it was so loud. I really wanted to sleep last night and I couldn't because, and then, the thing about the neighbor is, I don't know. I don't ever try to psychoanalyze people. She might have just been being her normal Friday self. She could have been. I'm not knocking that lady. All I'm saying is that on a Friday night, she had the light. It was like lights, camera, action. Lights, camera, action. It was like party over here. I mean, I opened the door. It looked like a party on this joint. And I saw the time of night it was. I went downstairs, got me a pizza and some chips and sat down, baby. I sure did. I ain't joined their party, but I was eating at their party. Yeah, anyway. Um, oh, yeah, Gemini. I know that. Yeah, I'll do that. It's just that I'm sitting down for a little while. I just took my treatment. I'm going to the bathroom. I wanted to wrap this up. Uh, Now, see, there is a purple cold warning in Philadelphia that they want people to stay inside. Now, I don't know when it's going to be lifted. Some Canada fires blew some smoke this way, and it's really bad here. This happened about a year or two ago. Something happened in Canada, blew smoke this way. They asking everybody to stay inside. So I don't, being as though they're asking everybody to stay inside, only come out if you have to, and to wear a mask. I know I already said, see, I already said I wasn't going outside before Dr. Polly said that. I had already said that, so it's okay. So I'm going to let you all go. I gave y'all 87 minutes, and I will see y'all tonight, and I will be doing my Christian show tonight. Y'all have a good day.